Welcome back to another episode of Satisfying Revenge Stories. Today, we're diving into the world of petty revenge, those small but oh so satisfying moments when someone gets exactly what they deserve. Sometimes, the smallest acts of revenge leave the biggest impact. Let's get started with 3 tales of petty payback. The Office Coffee Bandit. Our first story takes place in an office where one worker had enough of their coffee being stolen. Katie loved her morning coffee ritual at work. Every day, she brewed her own special blend in the communal coffee pot, adding her favorite creamer and a touch of vanilla. But for weeks, someone kept stealing her coffee before she could enjoy it. Frustrated, Katie decided to catch the thief. She brewed a fresh pot one morning, but this time, she spiked it with salt and vinegar. She labeled the pot as her usual, vanilla blend, and waited. Sure enough, Brad, the self-proclaimed coffee enthusiast of the office, took a big cup. Within moments, his face twisted in disgust, and he spit it out in front of everyone. Katie casually walked over and said, "Oh, that batch must have gone bad. Guess you should stop drinking other people's coffee." The room erupted in laughter, and Brad never touched Katie's coffee again. Sometimes, the best revenge is salty, literally. On to our next story, where a neighbor learns not to mess with the wrong lawn. The Lawn Wars. Petty neighborhood disputes can escalate quickly, but this homeowner handled it with flair. Mark prided himself on his lawn. He watered, fertilized, and mowed regularly, creating a lush green paradise. His neighbor, Karen, however, had a habit of letting her kids play on Mark's lawn, leaving toys, trash, and footprints all over it. Despite polite requests to stop, Karen dismissed him, saying, "It's just grass. Don't be so uptight." One day, after finding his freshly mowed lawn covered in muddy footprints, Mark decided enough was enough. He bought a motion-activated sprinkler system and installed it overnight. The next morning, Karen's kids ran onto the lawn as usual, only to be greeted by a sudden blast of icy water. Screaming and soaked, they ran back home. Karen stormed over, demanding Mark remove the sprinklers, but he simply smiled and said, "It's my property. I'm just keeping it hydrated." Karen never let her kids near Mark's lawn again. A wet wake-up call for Karen and her crew. Now for our final story, where a clever customer outsmarts a rude cashier. Rude cashier's lesson. This story shows how even a small act of defiance can leave a big impression. Emily was shopping for groceries when she encountered a particularly rude cashier. He rolled his eyes, huffed impatiently, and even muttered under his breath as she unloaded her cart. When Emily asked for a price check, the cashier snapped, "Can't you just pay attention next time?" Instead of arguing, Emily smiled sweetly and decided to teach him a lesson. She asked for every item in her cart to be rung up separately. Every single one. The cashier's face turned red as the line behind Emily grew longer and longer. She cheerfully said, "Oh, sorry. I just want to make sure I pay attention this time." By the end of her transaction, the cashier was visibly frustrated, while the customers behind her gave her knowing smiles. As she left, Emily turned back and said, "Have a great day." Sometimes, patience is the best weapon. Emily didn't just shop, she made a statement. That's it for today's episode of Petty Revenge Tales. Whether it's salty coffee, sneaky sprinklers, or a checkout showdown, these stories remind us that small acts of payback can be incredibly satisfying. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more stories of clever revenge. And as always, share your own stories in the comments. We'd love to feature them. Until next time, stay clever and stay bold.